All right, I got my dog for this one. The channel that originally made this is Mariah X Lambley. I think that's it, but I'll put it in the link below. This is an interesting way to put it. Let's talk about this. All right, some of this is a little presumptuous, but probably worth. I'm not too positive what they mean by pulling the voice. Hey, mister, don't let it no more. So she's using a kind of like a growler, like, I don't even know the terminology, but she's putting her false folds together to get that little bit of rasp. And so you can actually do this, you can try this on your own. If you hold your breath real quick, and then try to sing gently, you gotta be gentle, okay? Because this can be very taxing on your voice. And you I mean, you can definitely hear the air escaping from the folds. I mean, she has nodules, right? That's gonna happen. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I don't. This again is I can't. I don't know if I agree with it being unintentional. Right? So, and this is kind of the issue of doing a video like this, though 100% appreciate the work that this individual put into this video. My contention is that we're presuming the psychology of the artistic decisions that Mariah is making. What I want to focus on here is how light her voice is in comparison to her later years. This has less to do with it being unsupported. So let's define support, because I think that it's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but we don't actually ever qualify it and define what it means. Support we can think of as a combination of good posture as well as breath management. So the good posture is a very, very big important part of that. You have, ignore my hair. So this is just one example of not having good enough posture, but like if you look at the jaw jutting forward thing, this muscle right here that connects to the top of the larynx is called the omohyoid, and it goes down into the shoulder blade. So if you look, and when I do that, when I jut my chin forward, my shoulders actually go back to kind of compensate for the lack of balance. So posture is being corrected by the body, even though it's suboptimal. Now the problem with that is that the soft palate gets forced down, and you have a much more difficult time going up. So I think what we're seeing here with a lack of support is that we're seeing some posture and breath difficulties, but it's very nitpicky. See, like you just can't know. You can't know if that's on purpose or not. All right, what is he saying here? Correct me if I'm wrong. This is mostly from, I mean, I don't know. I'll let the lambs tell me what performance this is from, but... she does touch it. Like if she wanted to sustain that note out long, that, yeah, it wouldn't go so well, but she accounts for that, right? So to call it to see it is unsupported is accurate, but it's also something that she compensates for and adjusts for very quickly. You never know how tired someone is when they sing, and from what I understand, she aggressively. But yeah, to me, this is a good example of how to adjust on the fly. The other ones I like. So the last one is probably the strongest example of something being unsupported, but I think there comes a point in time where everybody kind of just like, duh, right? They kind of hit the note, it's on pitch, and they know this is not a note you sustain. You know what I mean? You're like, huh? And you're like, oh. No, we hit the note, but that's not, we're not going to do that. That's not going to go well. So that happens to everybody. You have to know when that's going on. You have to adjust. We have to remember that the voice is the most temperamental instrument in all of existence. The vocal folds of a woman are the size of a dime. They have the diameter. I think it's, oh god, I don't know math, but they're the size of a dime. So super, fragile instrument. And then, she has nodules on top of that, which can also help, not help with consistency. So just to explain that a little bit. Man, that's beautiful. We both agree on that. This vibrato at the end is so lovely. Right? That's wonderful. So to get the vibrato, she has to tilt what's called the thyroid cartilage, basically your Adam's apple. You tilt that, and because the vocal folds are connected to the thyroid cartilage, the vocal folds get like taut, and the larynx lowers a little bit. And so you get a much stronger, deeper sound when you have that vibrato. Wonderful. Wow. Those are pretty. Those are very pretty notes. Wow. What? What? Vocals are so good, but my computer broke. I don't agree that it's lighter here. So you have perhaps she might have swollen vocal folds here, which is why you kind of hear it to be a little breathy and disconnected. It could literally be that the folds are having a hard time adducting and touching each other, which would make sense if you're touring very, very heavily. Let's keep looking. Those whistles are amazing. So there's a lot more adduction of the vocal folds here. They're touching. Her larynx is going down a little bit. Like when she gets to king, her tongue goes forward a little bit. But the tone, the tongue goes back a little bit here, and that accomplishes a tone for sure, but you can't really take that up. Luckily, she's not here. This song is such a banger. It's so good. I don't. That's absolutely absurd. Again, you know, this is presuming the psychology of an individual. You can't know why Mariah does a thing. You'd have to ask her. She could just being careful. You know, I agree she's not letting it go, for whatever that's worth. But again, that could be like tension she got from, I don't know, living. You can see here, to my point, you can kind of see what I was talking about here earlier and how her jaw is a little jutted forward. And that, again, can bring down the larynx in a way that you don't want. And it can also bring down the soft palate, which can make it sound a little swallowy. Right, so the vowels are a little bit different than they would be if she had a little bit better posture. But some people like that sound. It's actually a really popular sound right now to, right? That kind of a thing, that kind of a tone. So maybe she's just ahead of the curve. She's adjusting well. What? That is so absurd. That is ridiculous. I mean, like, that's one of those things that just doesn't make sense. Like, that defies logic. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, that is actually quite a noticeable difference. So what I see here is better posture, right? This is what you'd consider more supported. What's happening is that the tongue is much wider and the soft palate is far more lifted. And so you're getting a brighter, perhaps even stronger sound, although these are descriptive, you know, adjectives that, you know, don't discuss the actual anatomy. But so the posture, soft palate, or the soft palate is not going down as much. The larynx isn't being pulled down as much, and so we're hearing a much clearer tone. Man, that's really good. like I don't know what to tell you. That's really good. What I like about this, what we're going to hear here, is there's a little bit of vowel modification. Right, if you were speaking those words, way, right? It's got a little bit of a brighter vowel in there, way, but she rounds out the vowel a little bit. Right. That's brighter. Nice. Good getting to that top. Very even scale, very consistent sound. Wonderful. So it's interesting that he talked about Mariah touching the F5 or F sharp 5 earlier. But this is another example of just like her touching the high note. And again, like, things happen. You have to adapt. So it's not a terrible thing. Like, the note is hit and everyone's happy. But it's just worth noting. Right? So it's just like a couple cents under, but who cares? Listen to that tone change when she goes into the vibrato and tilts that thyroid cartilage. Immediately darker. So good. Hold on. What was the critique here? No one attempt was missed, raspy, cut short. Everything was as it should be, showing her massive improvement. Nice. Look at how, like, as she's performing, her movement is so free. That's very, very, very helpful with posture. When you're moving something, you know, you can't really lock it up, right? Try to flex your bicep while you're doing this. It doesn't really work out. So the movement really helps here, and we can see that her posture is a lot better. I wouldn't say this sounds like pop now, but totally does absolutely sound like pop at the time. It's very, very, very good. A very clear, strong tone. I love it. You know, whistles are often like a parlor trick, right? There's like, oh, look at the high note. It's a very, very blatant demonstration of technique, and very rarely, I think, is it justified musically. But this actually sounds really, really good. And not only does it sound really good, it's musically sensible, right? My dog always gets a little scared when I get excited. So here we go, little puppers. Okay. No, she slides up to that. Yeah, it doesn't start. I'm sure that it's a B flat 6. This is absurd. Damn. You can really hear the warmth and the more full sound as she ages, which is very common. Like the nose, the vocal folds just kind of grow with age, and I'm not sure when she had her child, but that can also like significantly change her voice. Actually, there's an opera singer by the name of Kirsten Flagstad. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation, but let's go with it. Okay, she was like more of like a lyric or full lyric soprano. So that's a relatively big voice in opera, right? That's not a honker, but it's gonna make a lot of sound. So when this woman had babies, she turned into one of the most powerful voices in opera ever. She is an insane dramatic who is, I don't think is alive any longer, certainly not singing, but like
Whoa,
I hope you get the picture. Yeah, that is shockingly easy, no lie. Her songs are so good. Even in this quality, I'm like bopping my head. Notice how she's wearing very comfortable heels. So this woman, let's listen to her a little bit. I promise it's relevant. Gorgeous, right? Gorgeous. She is famous for, aside from her amazing singing, she's well known for a quote of hers. When asked, what do you do in preparation for such difficult, dramatic roles? And her response, good pair of shoes. Amazing response, but it does make a lot of sense. The shoes that Mariah are wearing are the shoes that Mariah is wearing in the video does show that they're a lot more comfortable. It's probably so hard to see with this shot. The resolution's so bad, but you can, oh my god, it's so hard to see. It's like the heel of her shoe is very very flat and kind of forgiving. It's like a little bit more of a block, and it's lower, so that really helps maintaining posture. Definitely posture is one of those things that people actually underestimate how important it is. It affects everything. So we talked about how this can lower the larynx unintentionally and create problems. But if you're tight in your torso, what will happen is as you inhale, it's like it's tight like this, right? It's just kind of tight. And so when you exhale, right? It's like a rubber band. So when you don't have great posture, it's almost impossible to take a really big breath and have a very powerful phrase. So, and there are just so many things that can affect that. So it's a very nuanced topic. There's if you really are interested in that, Alexander technique is a really, really fantastic way of thinking about posture as far as singing is concerned. I don't hear the nasality here. Yeah, none of this sounds nasal to me. What it might be is it might be twang. And so what that is that, so the false folds are above the real folds, and they're very large muscles, at least in comparison to the vocal folds. So what happens is that there's another muscle attached to them called the aryepiglottic muscles. I'm on top of my stuff today. So those aryepiglottic muscles are at this, like, so this is the false folds, right? And they're kind of wide in the connection with the aryepiglottic muscles. And what happens with the aryepiglottic muscles is when they contract, the false folds actually kind of get a little thicker and more and just a lot kind of fatter. And what that does is it creates twang. So we're going to use a spectrogram, which is a way of analyzing frequencies in order to kind of understand what twang is and what it does. Okay, let's start with the twang first. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So what I want you to look at is right around the it's like the mid 2000 hertz, right? Or like 2500 hertz up until almost 4K hertz. And that's going to be, hold on. Whoops, not that one. This one. That's going to be on the left-hand side. Okay, the way the spectrogram works is that there's the frequencies on the left side, the timeline on the horizontal plane, and then the brightness of each individual line denotes how loud that frequency is, right? So let's give this a listen. Not my best take, for sure. But you can see how that's really bright and populated in that specific region. This is twang. So this here is what you're about to hear is, and kind of a lot of the operatic tools are in this tone, but very much the AES missing. Is Amari mia bella. Doesn't sound bad, right? If it does, don't tell me. No comments down below. You'd almost describe that sound as a little bit of swallowed a little bit. The tongue, my tongue, I have a big posture issue here, so my tongue has a tendency to go back. But also, when you contract your epiglottic muscles, it does raise the larynx a little bit. And you can see, plain as day, the difference in how much is in this frequency range associated with twang and how much isn't. So now let's look at nasality. Here's this. Una furtiva lagrima. So what you can see here is actually right above 1K hertz. You can definitely tell that there are stronger frequencies here. Una furtiva lagrima. The tone is extremely inconsistent, right? As you change vowels and as you go to different notes, there are little micro adjustments that need to take place in order for the resonance to sound and be consistent. But when your tongue is super forward, your jaw is tight, your soft palate is a little down, so it's getting nasally, you really don't have a lot of opportunity to kind of really mess with the resonance, there we go, of the vowels. You don't really have that opportunity. And so that is more of the issue for me regarding nasal technique, is that it makes it a little bit more difficult to sing. So when we're talking about nasality in the context of Mariah, I don't think that was nasality personally. I do think it was twang. Now what's interesting here is that when you get to the E vowel, right? It's so much resonance. It's right in the middle right there, okay? That big pillar of resonance. And then the second I go off of it to get to the A vowel, still being nasal, it's like it just disappears. For lack of a better term, it shits the bed, right? Una furtiva. Totally inconsistent sound. This is one of the issues I find when people say sing into the mask, because it ends up with people singing with a lot of nasality. So, you know, maybe that's a little too nerd heavy for everyone else, but shocker, I'm a nerd. Very much so. Look at the glasses, the headphones, the hair, and the complete and utter lack of I don't know, like dignity, maybe? Is it dignity? A little bit of a boo-boo on my part. This is the YouTube channel that made the video, and I am not at all self-conscious about the fact that they were killing my viewership. They're just nailing it, and I look insignificant in comparison, but go check them out. A lot of good videos on this one, a lot of thoughtfulness. Really like this channel. I have a Twitter. I'm trying to keep my other socials populated with very specific artists. So the Twitter is going to be Mariah Carey, Beyonce, Chloe Halle, right? No beatboxing, no esoteric stuff. It's just going to be that, about 1 minute videos at a time, trying to post a lot up there so that you know when something is on the channel that you might be interested in. So this is my Twitter. It's got tweets, I think.